There's a lie that's destroying thousands of men right now. And it sounds very reasonable. And to make matters worse, that lie generally starts in the mind. It starts with stuff like this. That little voice inside you saying that you'll do something when you feel ready. You'll move when you feel like you're motivated. I want you to understand something. Scripture cuts straight through that lie. In Ecclesiastes chapter 11, verse 4, Solomon writes these words. He writes, "He who observes the wind will not sow, and he who regards the clouds will not reap." Let's kind of break that down a little bit, okay? And kind of look at what that's saying. What it's saying is this. It's saying that the man who's always watching the wind, the man who's always checking the conditions, the man who's waiting for the perfect moment is not doing the one thing that he needs to do in order to be successful. Instead of planning, he's waiting. And because he never planted anything, he'll never harvest anything. Because he never harvests anything, eventually he'll starve. And this is where many men are right now. They're waiting to feel disciplined, waiting to feel confident, and waiting to feel on fire. But life, especially for a man, is not built on how you feel. As cold as this might sound, I'm going to tell you straightforward. Most of society does not care about how you feel, especially as a man. You've got to accept that reality and know that because of that, society also knows that something else exists inside of you, and men should have the wherewithal to get to it even when they don't feel like it, okay? Your life is not built on how you feel. It's built on what you do consistently. You got to hear that. Your life is not built on how you feel. It's built on what you do consistently, and that reveals the content of your character. Now, it's true that men experience moments of weakness. I've experienced them myself. All of us have, okay? All of us have experienced that. But if you've experienced moments of weakness, it doesn't mean that you're necessarily weak, but you could be stuck in that cycle. And here's how you know if you're there. If you find that the majority of things in your life, things that you should be doing, you tend to put off, and you say stuff like, you know what? I don't feel like it today. I'll get to it at another time. That's revealing a type of weakness that you might not even know is there. But men who walk in strength, those individuals, they don't wait for that stuff right there. It doesn't matter how they feel, they still get it done. Now, as men, we also have to understand this. We generally enjoy watching sports, okay? Whether it be football, basketball, baseball, hockey, boxing, UFC, we really enjoy watching sports. And the moments in sports that we really enjoy the most is when somebody is down and it didn't seem like they was going to be able to pull it through, but something about them came out and they got it done anyway. And the purpose of this specific talk is I want you to know that that also exists inside of you, but you've got to choose to cultivate that specific thing. And many people haven't done that, okay? With regards to that, let me ask you this right here. And I need you to think about this one. How much of your life is on hold, or have you put on hold because you've been waiting to feel like you're ready? Okay. How much? Sometimes when a person gets to a certain age, they look back on their life and they feel like they wish they would have done something. It's like they have these regrets because they realized that when they had the opportunity to do something, they chose not to do it. And those are regrets that have a tendency to eat you up on the inside. It's because they chose not to move when they could move. They waited for their motivation or waited to feel motivated, and they kept waiting and kept waiting and kept waiting. And eventually the moment passed them by. Motivation, it comes and goes. It rises and it falls. Talked about this in a previous video, but I want to hit it again just so you understand. Sometimes you wake up and you feel like you're ready. And other days, you feel like you're not. Sometimes you wake up, you feel great. Other times you wake up, you don't feel so great. If you think about those sports heroes, those legends in whatever sport it may be, they got to it when it didn't seem like they could do it. And that is something that we admire about them. They got into action. They moved. The content of the character was a shining light for everybody to see, and we appreciate and admire that. They didn't wait just to feel like the time was right. They didn't wait for a moment of motivation. They got to it because they needed to get to it. They got it done. If you're waiting for motivation, you've got to understand that your life will be unstable for many, many, many years. That's the instability that cannot be repaired. You have to get to it when it's time to get to it. You've got to go. If you're unstable, you cannot build. If you're unstable, you cannot lead. If you're unstable, you cannot protect what God has given to you. You can't do it. And think about this. If you knew somebody was unstable, would you follow them? No, you wouldn't. And so if you're demonstrating that type of instability, you've got to understand that people are thinking those same things. Scripture, it never tells you to wait till you're motivated. Instead, it calls you to be faithful, to be steady, and to be consistent. What Solomon is teaching here in Ecclesiastes is a very, very powerful lesson, and it's one that we can all apply to our lives. It's saying this: if you wait for the perfect condition, your life will be unproductive. You won't do the things that you've been called to do. The farmer who waits for the perfect wind, for the perfect clouds, for the perfect timing, eventually he starves. And it's not because he lacks knowledge. It's because he lacks action. He didn't get to it. Now, men, I want you to hear me clearly. You are not called to move when you feel like it. And that's where discipline is formed. Not in moments of motivation, but in moments of resistance. If we think about those sports heroes again, they had a certain amount of resistance against them, and oh, did they move. And that inspired us. You have to understand this. When you're tired and you still show up, that builds character. When you don't feel like praying and you pray anyway, that builds character. When you don't feel like leading and you lead anyway, that builds character. When you don't feel like going to work and you know you've got to go because this is how you're going to take care of your family and you go anyway, that builds character. Now, it may be that nobody might understand how that feels. Maybe you don't feel like you're appreciated in doing that. But at the same time, you're building character inside yourself. Even if they don't appreciate it, you're building that character, and you've got to have that character in order for you to be the best version of yourself, because that's where strength is actually built. That's where your identity is forged. That's your bottom of the ninth inning. That's your 12th round. That's your fourth quarter. That's all of those things. It's doing it when you don't feel like you're able to do it or you want to do it, and you do it anyway. That's where character is built. And that is exactly the reason why athletes spend so much time in training. All that training is designed to do is to push them to the point where they don't feel like they have much left, and something about them learns to push through that stuff there. That's what training is about. And you have your own moments of training in your life if you look at it the right way. You have to understand that those moments when you don't feel like doing something, those are your testing ground moments. And you've got to prove to yourself that you can do it. So now, many of you might be living that cycle right now, and you want to change. So I'm going to give you a couple things you can do to kind of get you moving in the right direction. One, pick up responsibility. Now, the thing I'm talking about at this time is responsibilities that you've been putting off, like the little tasks that you've been putting off. Some of you got sinks that leak right now, okay? Some of you have little things on a car that you haven't gotten to. Some of you have that household product that you've been, or a project that you've been putting off for a while. Go ahead and get to that. Go ahead and knock that stuff out, because by getting to it, especially if you don't want to do it, that's forging that kind of character that teaches you to be the best version of yourself. That's your training ground right there. You don't think about it, you just get to it. Number two, you got to have a schedule, okay? A schedule, a fixed time to do certain things, whether it be waking up at a certain time, whether it be going to the gym on a certain day at a certain time. You've got to have commitments and teach yourself to honor those commitments. It's not about the time. It's about the commitment and honoring that commitment. That is, once again, forging character. It's teaching you to push through something when you don't feel like doing it. So if you fix that time, you fix that schedule, and you get to it, well, that's building character. Now, I want to clarify something on that. We all need rest. So I'm not telling you to do this every single 7 days a week. No, you got to have a moment of rest. So if you do it 5 days a week and on the other 2 days you rest, that's perfectly fine. You're doing what you need to do, okay? And you're establishing that rhythm. And number 3, and this is big right here, remove the emotions from whatever decision that you're trying to make or you're going to make. You do not debate with yourself. You've got to remove those emotions. We're called to be doers, not called to be people who stay in our feelings. Okay, that's to a certain extent, that's kind of feminine there. So we don't wait on our feelings. We do it because we got to do it. That's man stuff. That's good stuff, and we appreciate that. So, brothers, I want you to understand that your future is not waiting for your motivation. It's waiting for your action. It's waiting for your choice to do it. So stop waiting. Start building. And become the man that God is calling you to be today.